Imagine waking up every single morning knowing that if anyone at all, finds out who you really are, you disappear. No trial, no phone call, no embassy, no rescue, just gone. Now imagine doing that for 6 years, living inside the most secretive, most surveilled, most dangerous country on Earth. Not as a tourist, not as a diplomat, as a spy. This is the story of a man who did exactly that. An American, operating deep inside North Korea, sending intelligence back to the West while smiling at his North Korean hosts and pretending to be someone he was not. And for 6 years, he got away with it. Before we get into what he did and how he did it, we need to understand where he did it. North Korea, a country so isolated that most of its 26 million citizens have never used the internet. A country where speaking the wrong words to the wrong person can get your entire family sent to a labor camp for generations. A country that has spent decades telling its own people that Americans are their greatest enemy. And yet somehow, an American man lived there for 6 years. His background reads like something out of a Hollywood script. A Korean American with deep language fluency, a man recruited and trained to blend in, to act, to listen, to observe, and most importantly, to report back. He was not dropped in by parachute. He was not smuggled through the DMZ in the back of a truck. He walked in through the front door, invited, welcomed, trusted. And that is what makes this story so remarkable. Because in a country where every foreigner is watched constantly, where your neighbors are encouraged to report your behavior, where even your closest colleagues are likely informants themselves, this man built a life. And he used that life to gather some of the most valuable human intelligence on North Korea that the West had ever seen. Now, before we go further, you need to understand one thing. In the intelligence world, there are two kinds of people. There are the analysts, the ones sitting in air-conditioned offices somewhere in Virginia, reading reports and drawing conclusions from a safe distance. And then there are the ones who actually go in, the ones who risk everything, the ones for whom there is no desk, no badge, no safety net. Our man was the second kind. To understand how an American ends up spying inside North Korea, you have to understand the world that existed in the 1990s and early 2000s. The Cold War had ended. The Soviet Union had collapsed. But North Korea had not gotten the memo. While the rest of the world moved on, Pyongyang doubled down. They accelerated their weapons programs. They tightened their borders. And they became, in the eyes of American intelligence, one of the most important and most difficult targets in the entire world. Here is the problem. Spying on North Korea is almost impossible using traditional methods. You cannot just fly a case officer into Pyongyang and have them recruit local assets over drinks at the hotel bar. That is how it works in most places. That is not how it works there. In North Korea, every interaction is monitored. Every foreigner is assigned a government minder. Every local citizen who speaks to a foreigner faces scrutiny. The system is designed from the ground up to make foreign intelligence operations fail. So how do you get eyes and ears inside? You find someone who can become a local. And that is exactly what American intelligence, working in close cooperation with South Korean agencies, eventually did. They identified individuals within Korean American and Korean diaspora communities, people with language fluency so perfect, so natural that they could pass, people with the right look, the right background, the right story. And then, very carefully, very patiently, they built what intelligence professionals call a legend. A legend is not just a fake passport. It is a fake life, a fake history, fake family, fake memories, fake beliefs. Every detail thought through, rehearsed, lived. Building a convincing legend for entry into North Korea required something that almost no other intelligence operation requires. The operative had to actually believe in it. At least on the surface. He had to walk, talk, eat, sleep, and breathe like a defector who had left the capitalist world behind and genuinely embraced the Korean socialist paradise. Every morning, every day, for 6 years. Entry came through a route used by real defectors and overseas Koreans at the time, through China, through channels that the North Korean government itself had established to welcome sympathetic ethnic Koreans back to the motherland. He did not sneak in. He was invited in. And once he was inside, the real work began. Here is what most people do not understand about North Korea. It is not entirely as it appears from the outside. Yes, there is poverty. Yes, there is control. Yes, there is fear. A fear so deeply woven into daily life that most citizens have never known anything else. But there is also normalcy. Children go to school. People fall in love. Neighbors argue about mundane things. People laugh at jokes. People complain about the weather. And that texture of ordinary, everyday life is what our operative had to inhabit, completely, without cracks. He was given a role and a position. In the system North Korea had for trusted foreigners and returned defectors, he was assigned work, likely in an educational or advisory capacity. He attended meetings. He followed the rhythms of daily life in Pyongyang. He ate in communal dining halls. He sat through mandatory political education sessions where he was expected to express enthusiasm for ideas he did not believe. And through all of it, every single moment of it, he was watching. What was he watching for? In intelligence terms, what he was building was called order of battle, military positioning, the location and condition of key facilities, the real mood and morale of officials behind closed doors, the actual economic conditions behind the propaganda, supply chains, food distribution, early signs of internal unrest. These are things that satellites cannot tell you. These are things that intercepting communications cannot fully capture. Only a human being living inside, day after day, year after year, can accumulate this kind of granular, textured, real intelligence. But here is the part that almost nobody talks about when they discuss spying: the loneliness. Imagine not being able to call your family. Imagine not being able to tell a single person in your life who you really are. Imagine performing, constantly, exhaustingly performing, with the knowledge that one slipped word, one moment of confusion, one old habit that surfaces at the wrong time in front of the wrong person could be your last. The psychological weight of deep cover operations is something the intelligence community has only recently started to seriously study. Officers who survive long-term placements, whether in hostile states or inside criminal organizations, frequently describe the same experience. At some point, you begin to lose track of where the performance ends and where you begin. He was living inside a system specifically designed to reshape human identity. North Korea's political culture is not passive. It is aggressive. It reaches into your thoughts, your language, your daily rituals, your sense of self. And he had to absorb all of that, day after day, and still remember every single night who he was actually working for. So what did 6 years inside North Korea actually produce? During the early 2000s, the United States and its allies were trying to answer questions that kept decision-makers awake at night. How advanced was North Korea's nuclear program, really? Not what the satellite photograph suggested, not what the regime was announcing publicly, but actually, in reality, behind the curtain. What was the true state of the military? Were the generals genuinely loyal to Kim Jong-il, or was there quiet dissent building within the hierarchy? If the regime ever became unstable, would the military hold together or fracture? What was happening in the country's northeastern provinces where famine had killed hundreds of thousands of people in the 1990s and where the population's relationship with the government was, by all accounts, at its most brittle. A source operating inside North Korea, one with access to officials, with the ability to move through the system, with 6 years of accumulated daily observation, could speak to all of these questions in ways that no other intelligence method could match. The detail, the texture, the nuance that only comes from being physically present. One intelligence veteran, speaking on background to a journalist years later, described this type of sourcing as irreplaceable. And that word matters. Because you can photograph a building from space, you can intercept a signal, you can analyze trade patterns and shipping data and crop yields from satellite imagery. But you cannot know what a senior North Korean military official actually believes about his own government's future unless someone was in the room when he let his guard down. When the minders were not watching. When the carefully maintained public performance slipped for just a moment. That is what our operative was collecting over 6 years. Not just facts, but truth. And in a country built on the systematic and total destruction of truth, that was worth more than almost anything else the intelligence community could acquire. Every deep cover operation has an ending. Sometimes it ends cleanly. The operative is extracted on schedule. The legend is quietly retired. The person surfaces somewhere safe and slowly, painfully, tries to remember how to be themselves again after years of being someone else. Sometimes it ends badly. Exposure. Arrest. A fate that does not bear dwelling on, given what North Korean detention means in practice. In this case, the ending came, as it so often does in real intelligence work, not through any dramatic moment of discovery, not through a chase or a confrontation or a midnight raid, but through the slow, grinding accumulation of risk over time. At some point, after 6 years, the calculation changed. Maybe the access was becoming more restricted. Maybe someone had started asking questions that were slightly too pointed, showing just a little too much curiosity about who this man really was and where he had really come from. Maybe the intelligence community simply decided that what was being gathered had become worth less than the compounding daily risk to the operative's life. Or maybe, and this is the possibility that says something profound about the kind of people who do this work, maybe the operative himself made the call. That detail remains in the shadows where it belongs. What we know is that he came out. He came back. And the intelligence he carried with him, built patiently over 6 years of extraordinary, dangerous, largely invisible work, entered the system. It was analyzed. It was acted upon. It shaped policy decisions at the highest levels of government in ways that may never be fully disclosed to the public. And the man who gathered it went back to something resembling a normal life. If you passed him on the street today, you would not know. You would have absolutely no idea that the person walking past you once spent 6 years as the only American spy operating inside the most closed, most controlled, most secretive country on the face of the earth. And that is exactly how it is supposed to work. There is a famous satellite photograph of the Korean peninsula taken at night. South Korea blazes with light. Cities, towns, highways, ports, tens of millions of lives humming along in the connected modern world. North Korea is almost entirely dark. That darkness is not just the absence of electricity. It is the absence of information, the deliberate, enforced, total blackout of a society from the rest of the world. And filling that darkness, carefully, dangerously, one careful observation at a time, is the work of people like the man in this story. People whose names we will likely never know. People who made a choice to walk into the dark so that others could understand what was living inside it. North Korea remains one of the most difficult intelligence targets on Earth. The walls have not come down. The darkness has not lifted. But somewhere, right now, there are people doing what this man did, living double lives, carrying secrets they cannot share with anyone, trusting that what they are doing matters, even when they cannot see the results of it. And perhaps it does. Perhaps it always has. Thank you for watching. If this story reached you the way it was meant to, subscribe, because there are more stories like this one waiting. Stories that happened in the shadows. Stories most people never hear. You deserve to hear them.